Hi Twin Flames, hi Lightworkers, Leisha Nandy here with another video, and I'm so glad to be able to bring to you guys the video that I promised that I would make, and hopefully you guys have been thinking about what I've said in the last Twin Flame check-in that I did, and getting your questions and comments ready, maybe to put it in the comment section so that I can answer them for you. But this video is going to be about how do I know if I'm in a celebrity twin flame connection or CTF connection. And I'm going to be referring to celebrity twin flames in this video, throughout this video, as CTFs because it's a lot easier for me to say. It abbreviates the name, and so it'll be a faster reference, and I can get through the video a little quicker by having an abbreviation for that term. So if you hear the word, or if you hear the initial CTF, that means celebrity twin flame. Okay, so Spirit really led me to make this video. Like I said the other day, I came home from work and I was just really like trying to come up with a way of explaining what it is that we go through in this CTF journey. And I feel like I've been able to like connect with a lot of you guys out there, not only energetically in the 5D, but also some of you guys have reached out physically and told me about your stories. And so I really want to thank you for those of you who have reached out to me. And I wanted you to know that, you know, we're all in this together, and that's why I created this channel, so that we could get to know one another and to be able to learn more from one another. And that will hopefully keep us moving forward on our journeys, because it can be tough out there knowing that you're in a CTF connection and not knowing how to go about managing it. Just so you know, I do have other playlists out there that are helpful for you if you're in a CTF connection, such as navigating your celebrity twin flame connection, and also signs and synchronicities in a CTF connection. And then I did do another series called How to Connect with Your Twin Flame in the 5D. Now that one is a general video for all twin flames, which helps with, you know, helping you understand the different things about 5D connections. First of all, it goes through what it is. It tells you what you should look for as far as what is the 5D and what it entails, as well as how you can connect with your twin flame on a daily basis in the 5D and what kind of ways you can do that. So that's a very helpful series as well. There's only 2 videos in that series, but it's great to have something to reference, as far as a lot of people, I don't feel like they know all the way what a 5D connection is, or what 5D even means. So we hear that term thrown around a lot in the twin flame community, but unless someone really breaks it down to you, you kind of are, you know, not really understanding it. So I kind of do that in this video series, and I'm gonna put that in the description box for you guys so you can have those easy references to listen to or watch those videos. But I'm gonna go ahead and get started with this one, because I have a feeling this video is gonna get a little long because of all the content that I was able to write down. I want to thank my angels for giving me this beautiful content for you guys, because what I was going to say is that a lot of you that have come and reached out to me are younger, and I'm finding that a lot of you guys are very new on your CTF journey, which is perfectly fine. But I just needed to clarify and help you to understand what it is that you find in CTF connections that make it different from twin flame connections. Okay, so a CTF connection, you obviously have a celebrity who is a twin flame, and it does not matter if the celebrity knows whether or not they are a twin flame or not. The point is, you have a connection with them, and this video is going to show you how you have a connection with them, and what I basically broke it down into 6 topics and 6 signs, or 6 indicators that you may be in a CTF connection. And so the CTF connection, the only thing that's different about it from a twin flame connection is that you're in this twin flame connection with a celebrity. Now, I've already discussed in past videos that twin flames are here to change the way things are viewed as far as our matrix life that we have. When we awaken to this journey, we come out of the matrix and we start to understand that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And so as spiritual beings, we are going to discover that some of the templates that have been laid out for us before we got here are needing to be changed in order for us to come into a higher awareness, a higher level of unity and 5D consciousness, higher consciousness. We are going to have to break free from a lot of these templates that were set down for us, such as you have to be a certain age, you have to have someone in your age group in order to get married with them. No, twin flames can have big age gaps. Another one is you have to have the same religion. No, twin flames can come from various backgrounds, religious backgrounds. Some of them may not decide to go forward in their life with a religious practice, but they, however, become spiritual. And so they may not practice the same religious beliefs that their parents taught them growing up. That's the case with me. I don't happen to be or claim to be belong to any certain religious sect, but I am a spiritual person, and I believe in a higher power, and I worship, my higher creator, and I call my creator Father, Mama. And so I have a connection with my own creator, a direct connection. And I feel that this connection opens me up to be able to experience the entire consciousness of the universe when I meditate and when I do other things like, get in tune with myself and elevate my self-awareness to who my higher self is. Because I have a higher self too. We all have a higher self. Your twin flame has a higher self, which is what you find when you are in the 5D and you are communicating with them. That's who you're speaking with. You're speaking with your twin flames 5D self. And I'm going to get into that a little bit later. But so you just need to understand that these templates that were said, in the past, that we have to belong to a certain religious group, we have to have, a certain age distance between you and your partner before you get married or whatever, or you have to have, a certain amount of money, or you have to be on the same playing field, the same level in terms of that. No, you can have a big age gap in your twin flame connection. You can have same-sex connections. You can have socioeconomic differences, huge ones at that. Like, for example, one of your twin flame might be very rich or very wealthy, and you might be, not so much. And, you may be finding yourself with humble means, so there's nothing wrong with that. These are all things that you decided to have before you came to this planet. These are things that you incarnated here, having already chosen them before you started your lifetime. So you knew before you came here that this is what your life was going to look like. This is how reincarnation works. We decide before we come down here, the next time around, how our lives are going to be laid out. We write it down, and it becomes a contract. And you sign this contract, your soul signs this contract to be able to know that this is what your path is going to be when you come down here. Now, how you end up achieving these things or coming into these awarenesses and at what times is dependent on the choices you make while you're here. When you become incarnated, you have choices still. So that's why there's still such a thing as free will. So when you come here, you still are able to direct your life in such a way where as you use that free will to make the choices that you are going to make to help you understand what your purpose here in life is. But you have already chosen that purpose or that lifestyle before you got here. And so hence, this is why there is such a thing as a celebrity twin flame connection. Because as spiritual beings in the 5D, when we left our last lifetime and went up into the astral realm, we decided in this lifetime that we would like to have a celebrity twin flame connection, or CTF. So one of us chose to be the twin flame, the celebrity, twin flame, and the other one chose to be a non-celebrity twin flame. This was designed for us before we got here. You agreed to it, you signed up for it, and then you talked to your ancestors and spirit guides about how you were going to go into finding your purpose here, and whatever purpose that was for you is specific to you, and your ancestors and your spirit guides are going to help you find that while you're here. So I hope that makes sense to you. I hope you understand that, some of you as twin flames will not start out necessarily knowing about all of these things. You will learn them as you go on, as time goes on. You will not know about all this spiritual stuff, because we have to awaken to it. When we are born, we do have a certain purity, innocence about us that is, as we grow up, our society, our family, our school teachings, they teach us how to live in this, era in such a way, whereas they try to help mold us into the path that they feel we should take in terms of how to become a good citizen or how to become a good human being for the most part. But we also have these, templates that they've set in front of us and said, hey, I want you to believe what we believe. I want you to grow up to be this or that. I want you to practice this or that religion. This is how our parents were taught and how they were, brought up. And a lot of times this is what they're going to pass down to us. And it's up to us as spiritual beings to decide, is this really helping to serve my highest good? Is this going to really help, the planet as far as bringing more love and light into the planet? Or do we need to change? And change is on the horizon. I spoke about that in the check-in that I did with you guys a couple days ago. Change is on the horizon. We are going to see the new earth anchored in through the love and light codes that we are getting and downloads that we are getting from spirit, from our angels and spirit guides. Okay, so when you get these light codes, take them seriously. When you get these downloads, when you have that buzzing in your ear, or when you are laying down and you have a lot of thoughts just rush through your mind in such a way whereas it seems like you just had like a computer chip just downloading information into your brain. These are downloads from spirit, from source. When you're sitting outside in nature and you're closing your eyes and feeling the warmth of the sun on your body, and all of a sudden you hear birds chirping, or you hear trees, the wind in the trees, or you just feel that breeze that comes through, you are receiving downloads even as you sit there, even as you do things like swimming or getting in touch with water. You have downloads coming in, and you probably don't even realize it all the time. But when you do feel or sense those downloads coming in, especially during your meditations, take them seriously, because what they are, I speak about this too in the 5D conscious videos. What downloads are is like nuggets of information that you need in order to help you further along on your journey. It comes to you in a huge chunk. It's like a huge chunk, like an asteroid of information that hits you all at once. But it's stored in your code, in your DNA, and in your brain cells, so that once you are ready to receive that information, and that's when you have, say for example, a specific incident or a specific situation or circumstance that comes up that requires you to know this information, it will be accessible to you because you've already received the download for it. That's how your mission works as well. You receive downloads as to how you're going to start your mission. Some of you out there might be wondering, I don't really know what my mission is. How can I find out what it is? You're going to receive a download from Spirit, first of all. But I also am here to help you with your mission, because I offer mission magic coaching sessions, which I'm beginning to offer again regularly this month of November coming up. So I'm going to go ahead and get into this, these six signs or six indicators. I like to call them indicators, not signs, because I don't want to get this confused with signs and synchronicities. So 6 indicators that you are in a CTF connection. Now these also can be for twin flame connections. So twin flame connections will be showing the same types of indicators However, I will tell you as I go along what a CTF connection and how it differs from the twin flame connection, okay? So, the first indicator that you are in a CTF connection, and I would also call these somewhat like stages, because this might actually be better labeled as a stage of a CTF connection. If you're in a CTF connection, these are some of the stages that you will go through to confirm that this is what you're really going through, okay? That you're really in a CTF connection. First thing is dark night of the soul. The dark night of the soul triggers your spiritual awakening. And the divine feminine always gets awakened first in this connection, okay? Twin flame connection or celebrity twin flame connection or CTF connection. Now, the divine feminine is the spiritual twin. The divine masculine is the matrix or the physical twin. So the divine feminine, her responsibility, and I'm going to say, please change the pronouns as it pertains to your situation. You can be a divine masculine and be a woman, and you can be a divine feminine and be a man. Just take it how it resonates. The divine feminine is going to be the spiritual twin and will awaken first. And so this is the reason why you may come to find out that you have a CTF first. Woohoo! Who's telling you this information? Who's letting you know that as a divine feminine, you're going to be the first one to understand that you have this CTF connection in your connection there. So basically, your divine masculine may not be aware of it. They may not even know what a twin flame is or know the label twin flame or term, for it. They may not know, but they might, But the dark night of the soul, it usually triggers the spiritual awakening of the divine feminine first. Okay. So, what is the dark night of the soul? And I also have heard this term referred to as DNOTS, which is dark night of the soul abbreviated. DNOTS is a sudden traumatic event or series of life-changing events that could take weeks, months, or even years before you know or come to accept why this tragedy has taken place in your life. Okay, so a sudden traumatic event, like for example, a family member passes away that's close to you, or you have a really major accident or a life-threatening situation, or you go into a deep depression, something that is very, very hard on you mentally, physically, and spiritually, and causes your whole world to be shaken up, okay? For me, it was losing my job. I was fired from my job back in 2017, and I had been at that job for 12 years and had been what I would think was a very good employee, but I got fired. And, it was kind of out of the blue, unexpected. And so, I have my reasons why they fired me, but it didn't seem fair to me at the time. And it certainly wasn't something that I was happy about, or that I, felt like, I felt very, very ashamed at the time that it happened. And so, it was hard for me to face coworkers after that happened. It was very, very difficult because I was just full of, humiliation, and having those feelings were just eating away at me because I felt unworthy. I felt like I was unloved. I felt like they had just let me go for no reason, no good reason. And so, I felt very cheated. I felt very hurt by that whole situation. And also I had family members that I was having confrontations with, very, very heavy confrontations with, in terms of like bringing up things from the past that had happened, and not feeling, that I had any type of justice for what had happened to me, or any type of like, understanding, or even forgiveness, or, I felt like I deserved to have an apology for some of the things that happened to me. But the people that I had issues with weren't even acknowledging that these things happened. And so I was very devastated by that. I was also in a situation where I had a partner who we were on the brink of breaking up all the time. And that was my karmic partner. And so I had all of these things. So mine was kind of like a series of life-changing events, from having my partner and I not being on the same wavelength or same terms anymore. When we weren't on good terms anymore, but we were still living together. And so it was a very miserable type of situation, because I really knew that something had to change. And then on top of that, I got fired from my job, and then had situations where I was upset with family members, and I had gained a lot of weight. So I was unhealthy. I was eating unhealthy. I was, basically knocked all the way back down to what I would say I felt like was, the lowest that I could go on my, I was just dropped down to the lowest point on my totem pole, I guess you could say. So it was very hard for me. I had a lot of things that were just hurting me mentally and emotionally. And, it was a real big blow to my ego. I think that just getting fired was my last straw, the last thing that tipped me over into a deeper depression, I would say. So that was what was my dark night of the soul. So I had to go inside, and that time that I had off was actually a blessing in disguise. But like I said, it could take weeks, months, or even years before you know or come to accept why this tragedy has taken place in your life. So I didn't know at the time why I got fired and why this happened the way it did, because I felt like I was going to be going on with this company for many years. And instead, they, did not value me as an employee, and they decided that they wanted to let me go. So I was really devastated by this, and so I spent a lot of time kind of, like being sad about it. Like I said, embarrassed, humiliated, because I didn't want to face my coworkers again. I never went back into that place of work, and I never talked to the coworkers that I had been associating with either, because I was that embarrassed about it, So that was my D-Knots, or Dark Night of the Soul. It was several different things that happened back to back in a small period of time in my life that caused me to have a big, big drop in my vibration. It caused me to question my own sanity, as well as my own value and worth as a human being, as an individual. And I was unhealthy, and I was starting to get more unhealthy because I was doing more things that were unhealthy and eating more things that were unhealthy. Okay? So there came a time where I had to ask myself, do I want to continue going this way? Do I want to continue down this path? And I had to really be honest with myself, because I was, I was failing. I was not doing well in life. And so I wasn't able to really pick myself up very easily, I would say. But this was the beginning of my spiritual awakening. And I didn't even know it. It was a blessing in disguise, because if I hadn't lost that job, then I probably would never have thought to look for solace and healing on my own individually. And I wouldn't have had the time to find it on my own either. So the second indicator that you're in a CTF connection, this kind of happens second. Okay, so this is the next stage in your CTF connection after you've gone through the dark night of the soul, and that's the divine feminine first. You are led to study spirituality and become more inquisitive about healing and self-growth. Okay, so you become a more spiritual person because you've gone through this tragedy, and you have to you start to ask yourself, do I want to continue my life like this? Something has to change. You become aware something has to change. And so you seek out a higher power. You seek out things that are going to help you heal. Okay, we're going to talk about that next. But yeah, you're more inquiring about what is it that's going to help me heal and get over this. What is it going to take for me to get out of this depression, to be able to get back to normal again, what we considered normal. But what we don't know is that what we consider to be normal will change drastically during a spiritual awakening, okay? So, you are led to study spirituality and become more inquisitive about healing and self-growth. These two previous steps could happen before or after you come to learn who your CTF is. For me, these two stages happened before I learned who my CTF was. Okay, so I went through all this before I even learned who my CTF was, and but it could be different for you guys. So I want to make sure you know that some of these stages could be in different orders. Okay, so you might meet your CTF or learn who they are first and then go through a dark night of the soul, or you might go through an awakening first and then go through a dark night of the soul. So these are interchangeable stages, but the point is, if you are in a CTF connection, you will have experienced each of these 6 stages that I'm speaking of now. Now, the reason I said about the people that have contacted me, and that a lot of you guys that are watching the channel might be, very young on this journey, is because I want you to understand that if you're just starting to awaken to this journey, it can be challenging. It can be daunting because you don't know a lot about it. You guys are very, very savvy in terms of having all of this technology at your fingertips where you can find answers that you need. And so a lot of you may end up looking it up and researching it for yourself, which is also what I did, to find the answers as to what it is that you're experiencing. However, you do need to understand that if you don't go through these stages, then you may not be in a CTF connection. Because if you haven't had a dark night of the soul or a spiritual awakening, you either have one of two things that's going to happen. You're going to live a little longer and you're going to go through it, or you're going to come to find that you have been basically, in a situation whereas you felt something for someone that happened to be famous, and it might not be leading you down this path. So if after I finish this video, you've come to realize that less than 3 of these stages you've been through, or maybe not even half of them, well, that's less than 3. But if you don't feel like you've been through these stages before, or know of what they're even talking about, then you may need to reconsider whether or not this is the path you're on. It doesn't mean that you don't have a purpose here. It doesn't mean that you don't have a connection with someone else that could be a life partner for you, but it just simply means you may not be in a CTF connection. Not like you think. Okay, so we can have feelings for celebrities. We can have very, very deep emotional feelings for celebrities who have touched our hearts and our lives in ways that we feel have helped us get through tough times. And that is a beautiful thing. That's why a lot of celebrities, become idolized, because they help people get through really rough times in their lives through the art that they share and the love that they share through that art. But not all the time does it mean that you're in a CTF connection. But that's why I'm here, to help you understand if you are, because you will have gone through these 6 stages, okay? Let me continue. And I hope this is helping you guys, because it's not a bad thing if you come to find out that you have not had a CTF connection. It's not a bad thing. It's just simply saying you have a different path that you have to find out what you're on. And everyone out here in this world, every single person on this planet is going to find love at some point in their life. But it just may show up in a different way than what you thought. It doesn't mean that you give up on love. It just simply means that you may have a whole different path that you never even thought about waiting for you, okay? So for those of you who are still sticking with me on this and are really, wanting to know and be convinced that you're in a CTF connection, let's continue. Okay. So a connection with a higher source becomes extremely comforting, and it is important for you to seek out daily through meditation. Okay? That is the second. These are parts of the second stage. You're going down this path of spirituality. You start studying it. You start being more inquiring about what is God. You start to ask questions. You may seek out different things. And that's what I'm going to talk about now. You might start seeking out different things, such as you might start having the urge to make dietary changes. That's what I wanted to say. You might have an urge to make dietary changes. These urges that you're getting are like prompts by spirit to make changes in your life. So you're going to start feeling like, hey, in order for me to feel better and in order for my body to feel better, I'm going to have to start eating healthier. I'm going to have to start exercising and doing things that I know will help improve my health. And that's going to make me feel better physically, which will also help me to feel better on a spiritual level, because actually, when you start healing on a spiritual level, that affects you physically. So really what you're doing is, once you start inquiring more about how you can be more of a spiritual person, then you start to change your diet, and everything else comes after that physically, because now you're aware, hey, I need to make these changes in my physical 3D self in order to be able to have more access to my spiritual gifts, okay? So you start to learn that you may have spiritual gifts, and in order for you to be able to access them fully, you're going to have to start making changes in your life, okay? Dietary changes is one way. You may start to find other ways of practicing and other healing modalities, such as learning what your chakras are and going through chakra cleansing, okay? And I have a chakra cleansing playlist that you guys can look at, and I always put these in the description box. Whatever I mention here in terms of playlists, I'm going to mention in the description box below. So look for those there. You might start checking out what Reiki is and start learning how to do Reiki healing. And a lot of times people who go into these types of modalities will start out healing themselves before they start to go and learn how to heal others. So you could start using Reiki on yourself, or crystal therapy on yourself, or tarot on yourself, and then you end up realizing later down the line that you want to help others. And so you start using these modalities to help others and make a practice out of it, which becomes also, it can become a way for you to leave that full-time job and become a teacher or a healer full-time, okay? But that's later down the line, okay? So, dietary changes, chakra cleansing, Reiki healing, crystal therapy, tarot, astrology, etc. All these things become more important to you because you want to understand more about the universe and more about spirituality and how it can help you in raising your vibration, okay? You accept that you are a spiritual being having a human experience, and your life begins to reflect that truth, okay? So this happens when? After the first stage, which was the dark night of the soul, or, at whatever point on your journey it happens. You're then led to study spirituality and become more inquisitive about healing and self-growth. The third stage that you will go through is that you begin to receive signs and synchronicities. Now this could also happen, like I said, again, in conjunction with the other two stages. You could start seeing these types of things during your dark night of the soul, and that's totally fine, or during your quest for a more spiritual connection with a higher power. But at some point on your journey, you're going to start seeing number signs, such as 1111, 1212, 111, 222, and so on. Now, my first number sign that I was seeing repetitively all the time was 1111. That's pretty much the twin flame code for awakening to the fact that you're a twin flame, and you're going to have the two ones on this side and the two ones on this side, which are two mirrored reflections of each other, which is like a symbolic expression of twin flames. Okay, so you see these numbers and you're looking at the clock, and it just so happens that it says 11:11, or you look at the calendar and it's November 11th, and you're like, wow, and it's like, okay, wait, what? And then you start seeing it on your receipt, or you start seeing it you start hearing it. Oh, what time is it? Oh, it's 11:11. Oh, really? Or you know that becomes the first thing that you hear, and a lot of times it's a code to awaken to this journey. Okay, this ascension journey. Then 1212, you know, is another one that I saw, and that is, you know, also talking about ascension. That number sign is very powerful when it comes to ascension and universal, you know, uncovering universal truths and helping you to understand that there's a process that you're going through, and you will get to the end of that process and have a beautiful outcome, but you have to trust the process. And 1212 kept coming up after I started questioning what 1111 was, which 1212 was to reassure me that all I needed to do was trust the process, because I was going through a spiritual awakening. So these numbers are very, very heavily meaningful as far as learning what a spiritual awakening is. You're seeing them all the time. And then you start seeing 111, 222. And then you want to look up what these numbers mean, because you start seeing them so much that they become really kind of like freaky as to how often you're seeing these numbers. And at the beginning, it could be one set or it could be several sets of numbers, but that you see over and over again. Depends on, you know, what your pathway that you decided before you came here, what you decided the numbers would be, the signs will be for you. So you're going to have the signs that you asked for before you came here that show up all the time in your life to help you remember that you're a spiritual being having a human experience, and that you're awakening on this journey into something more beautiful, and that you're going to become a beautiful, higher version of yourself as soon as you start to realize that these number signs are like the breadcrumbs that I told you from Hansel and Gretel that lead you through the forest back to where you need to be, and that's home. Okay? So, later on, these number signs get more personalized. You start seeing things like your birthday number, or you start seeing your twin flame, CTF's birthday everywhere. That could be an indicator that these numbers are very important to your personal journey, whatever those numbers are for you. You could have other dates that come up or that you see often, or you could see numbers on license plates. I've been seeing that myself lately. My birthday number and my twin flame's birthday pops up on license plates for me to help me remember that this is my twin flame, my CTF, and he is always, I see his birthday number, and as well as mine, some more frequently now. So, birthdays are significant for number signs, as well as other numbers that, like I said, are personalized to you and your journey that you've already chosen to see as your sign. Okay. Other signs could be your twin flame, your CTF's name is mentioned or begins to show up everywhere. That happened to me. I saw my CTF's name on buildings, on street signs, on in my emails. It was showing up all the time. What really tripped me out, though, was when I started getting into listening to tarot readings, and people started to say my twin flame's name in those tarot readings. So that was really trippy too, because, you know, I had never gotten into tarot or anything like that before I went through this spiritual awakening. But I'll get more into that later. So your CTF's name is being mentioned or begins to show up everywhere, or you hear a song that's by them, or see their movie or artwork, or you see them at a sports event, or they are in a sport that you watch frequently, you see them on TV, etc. And something in you is extremely stirred up, and after that one encounter, you can't stop thinking about them for weeks, and then weeks turn into months. Okay? So you can't stop thinking about this person. You can't stop seeing their signs of their name and these numbers everywhere. you start learning more about who this person is, and then you start finding more things that are signs, like if you guys start dressing alike, or if you have similar tastes and styles, or if you like the same foods, or if you have the same passions or the same desires to help people. You start seeing all of that. Okay? So, did I say that the name, you start realizing who your CTF is? Oh yeah, I said that already in the last stage. Yes, okay. Oh no, I didn't say it yet, but this is when you're learning who your CTF is. And I think I say that later on here. Let me just go ahead and finish what I'm saying here. And something in you is extremely stirred up, and after that one encounter, okay, so yeah, here's basically, this is it. The encounter with your CTF, based on you hearing their song, or seeing their movie, or artwork, or seeing that you have this artwork in common, or sports that you have in common, or seeing them on TV, learning how this person is connected to you. This is your CTF. This is when you start being aware. After you've had stage 1, which is the dark night of the soul, and stage 2, which is a spiritual awakening, and now stage 3 is when you're seeing all the signs everywhere. The signs lead you to, the number signs especially lead you to understand that there's something bigger waiting for you in life. And so you end up finding out what that is by hearing your CTF's name, or seeing their picture somewhere, or being introduced to them somehow. Okay? So this is actually where you get introduced to them. Right now. We're on that part. Okay. And you can't stop thinking about them for weeks, and weeks turn into months. Okay. Now here's where I put a little more clarification. Some of you may even see or meet your CTF in passing. Okay? Or you may have even grown up knowing them before they became famous. Okay? So you had a connection with this person before they were famous, and then they became famous. They blew up. You had time period where you didn't even know what they were doing or have any inkling about them anymore, because you didn't think about them anymore. You grew up, you had lived your life, and you became, whatever situation that you decided to go down in your path that you chose. You decided to do that, so that's where life took you. And then you start remembering, oh, this person, I remember this person. Somebody mentions them. Okay, here's the next thing. You forget about them for many years, then suddenly some event comes up with them featured. They come to your hometown, or they even look you up again after many years, or one of your friends mentions them. And that happened to me also. My ex mentioned that I was supposed to be with my twin flame, and I didn't believe him at all. I laughed it off. I totally didn't know anything or think anything like that could ever happen with me. And then I started to see my CTF's name everywhere. And this is some years later. And when I decided to follow him on his Instagram, I started to understand that there were so many connections that I had with him, and wanted to know more about him. Now, all of this, after you get the initial shock of this person may be somebody significant to you, leads you into the next stage, which is the love bubble phase. All twin flames go through the love bubble phase, okay? But the difference in a CTF connection is that you're going through the love bubble phase as a single person. And you're learning about your twin flame, your CTF, as a single person. Whereas in a twin flame connection, you meet this person physically. And you meet this person and you begin to fall more in love with them, because you start realizing that they are significant to you. You start feeling them. You start opening, your heart chakra expands, and you start feeling their love for you inside of you. And you're able to meet with each other. You're able to have interactions with each other as twin flames. So you get that, initial heart chakra activation from your initial eye contact. Now, I am a first-hand witness that the love bubble phase in a CTF connection can occur without you ever having met this person physically or communicated with them physically. Now, I'm telling you this, nobody else is going to tell you this. A CTF connection will begin with you not ever having met this person or having a conversation with them at times, okay? Most of the time, that's what's going to be the case. But you can still have a love bubble phase because the power of this connection is so strong that their 5D self is going to show you that you have love for them inside of you that is so strong that you're going to start doing all of the things that I'm about to talk about right now in this love bubble phase, okay? So their 5D connection, your CTF's 5D connection begins to come to you and helps lead you to understand more about the CTF so that you can realize what they are to you. And it is also here that you may not know that you are a twin flame or what a twin flame even is, but you're going to learn and find out, right? Because that's how all of us started, is that we didn't know what a twin flame was until we got blindsided, I would say, so to speak, by the fact that we had a CTF, because of the fact that their name started popping up everywhere, or we saw their video, or we heard their song. Okay, so in the love bubble phase, you have not met this person in a CTF connection, but you are so passionate about knowing everything about this person. You become obsessively curious about looking up more things about your CTF, okay? You want to know everything about them. You start finding every video, every interview, every personal appearance. You find every single piece of tidbit information that you can find about them. You feel an overwhelming amount of love for them to the point where you feel if you can't know them better than anyone else on the planet, your life will cease to exist or be meaningless because of the fact that you haven't been able to figure out how important they are in your life and what they mean to you, or being able to be close to them. This kind of helps give you a sense of being close to them when you find all these information about them, because you can't be with them physically. Like I said, you can't be with them physically because they are a celebrity. And so you start to find every detail about them that you can find over social media, over watching their videos, listening to their music, going and finding out more about their art, what their movies, whatever it is that they are as a celebrity. You find it. You find it and you cherish it and you hold on to it. And then every little tidbit you learn about them, even the slightest detail, makes you unexplainably happy and full of joy. It could put you on cloud 9 for the rest of the day. You found one thing. Oh, they love to go vacation in Michigan. Oh, wow, I've been to Michigan so many times growing up, blah, blah, blah. This is the kind of example of, you coming into an awareness of some detail, like minor detail, and it puts you off into this whole frenzy about, oh my God, I went there and I've been there and I've done this. And, it's like you find out that there's so many things that you have in common just from these little tidbits that you get when you learn about them. And it makes you so happy because you feel more connected to them. And this is their 5D self showing you these little things. So this is another reason why I feel like you guys need to understand, when you're in a CTF connection, your CTF, your celebrity twin flame, does not necessarily know you at the very beginning, or know that you're twin flames, or know that you even exist, because how can they? They're a celebrity. They are in this matrix world, going about their daily life, doing all of these things on a daily basis. There's millions of people they meet. There's hundreds of conversations that they have. They will not know who you are just because you understand and come to an awareness that they are your CTF, okay? This is what you need to understand. You're dealing with their 5D self on a daily basis, and that's why you feel so connected with them and so loving towards them, because their 5D self is connecting with you and telling you all of these things. You start having the telepathic connection with them. Let me get down here and continue reading, because I wrote that in there too. So like I said, every little tidbit you learn about them, even the slightest detail, makes you unexplainably happy. And then you begin to look for ways to be able to meet them. So you start looking for ways to show up at their concert or go to their meet and greet, you start saying, how can I get close to them? What if they have like a signing, like they start signing their albums or, their book, they have a book signing, or, what if they go somewhere and they go donate to a charity, and I'm invited to this charity event, maybe I can get a ticket, maybe I can go there, maybe I can do this, maybe I can come to their personal appearance and meet them and stand in line for hours and hours and see them for a few minutes, and maybe even have a chance to talk to them. And you just go crazy with all these ideas and thoughts about how it is that you can get close to this person. And some of these ideas could be so out there that it's like, how in the world are you planning to do that? But you just are so happy that there's even a chance for you to come in close contact with this person. You're willing to literally do the impossible, or what people will say is impossible, or the crazy things, to try to meet them. So you begin looking for ways to be able to meet them. You begin having dreams about them, and you dream about having a future with them. And these dreams seem very real. They seem so real. You can vividly recount them. I highly encourage you to write down every single dream that you have, especially the vivid ones about your CTF, in a journal, a dream journal, because that will help you. Because a lot of times these dreams are premonitions as to what you're going to have in your CTF connection in the future. This is one of the main signs that you have that you're going to be in union with your CTF, is if you dream about it. And it's so vivid that you can taste it, you can touch it, you can see it, you can smell it. This is a very big, big sign that you're meant to come into union with your CTF in this lifetime. Okay? You feel them astral project to you. Their 5D self, remember, it's their 5D self, not their 3D self. Their 3D self doesn't know who you are. Not yet. Not unless you physically met them in person. You've bumped into them somewhere, or you've known them. That's the only difference. But some of us have not had that pleasure of knowing them or meeting them in person just yet. If you're one of those that have done that, you're very lucky, because some of us have to go through all these stages before we get to that point where we do the meet and greet or the other things. So if you've seen your CTF, like I said, maybe you grew up with them, or maybe you had a chance to go early on in your journey to see them somewhere and you really did lock eyes with them. You started them on their awakening process back then, very early on, as well as you. But you still are going to go through these stages, because, hey, what if you never really knew about this person, and that one encounter that you had where you locked eyes with them made you start going through the love bubble phase? But hey, guess what? You might go through a dark night of the soul after meeting them, because that's going to help lead you to your spiritual awakening. So that makes you go back to, so stage 3 would maybe take you, stage 3 of meeting them, encountering them for the first time. That's a big, huge sign, okay, that you meet them and you start seeing that you have something, a magnetic attraction and pull to this person. It could lead you to the blood bubble phase, stage 4, and then you could jump back into stage 1, jump into stage 1 after the love bubble phase, which is the dark night of the soul, because that's going to help lead you to your spiritual growth and self-growth. Okay, so like I said, you don't have to necessarily go in this order. You could jump around on as to when you have these different stages and experience them on your CTF journey. All right, so so you feel them astral project to you, maybe even at the same time each day. You feel them come to you and visit you and talk to you, and maybe even have, intimate moments with you. You start feeling that and flushing and all that stuff that comes with it. Even if you're at work, and some of the craziest times, you'll feel there's that sensation of that heat and that flushing, where you feel that person is thinking about you, or that person has maybe, done some things while thinking about you, because that's just how that person feels at that moment. They don't necessarily know that it's you unless you've met them, but they may just have a urge to want to be intimate, and you might feel that on your end, because in the 5D, they do know who you are in the 5D, and they are looking at you and observing you in the 5D and checking you out. Okay, they're energetically checking you out, so they might feel sometimes that you're happy because something good happened to you this day. And so they feel so happy that they send you love. They don't even know why they're sending you love, but they're sending it because they feel good for some reason. That day that you got that good news, whatever good news that was, that you start feeling so happy, so on top of the world, that it energetically carried over into your CTF, and they start feeling good, and they might even post something to show that they're full of love at that moment. Oh, I got chills, because this happens, you guys. I've seen it in my own journey. My twin flame would post something about being in a place or that he was so excited about, and I would have been feeling so good about something that had happened to me, and then he'd post a picture of him smiling, and my twin flame doesn't smile all the time. And so that's one of the reasons why I would know he'd be happy, because he would feel something energetically, and he wouldn't come to know that it was me until we had our first encounter. Okay, so for me, my first encounter came later. It came after these stages, even after the love bubble stage, but it came, and I was able to make that happen for myself. Okay, every single person's journey and how it plays out will be different, but we all will have to go through these stages. That's the bottom line, and that's the reason why I'm making this video, so that you know, if you haven't reached all these stages yet, then you may need to understand that maybe you're not in a CTF connection. But if you're going through these stages, if you're learning more about who you are as a spiritual being, if you're being led to become more aware of how you can help people in this world because of this connection, then you're probably in a CTF connection. Let's keep going. And I'm almost done here. Yay! I think. Maybe not. I got a couple pages more. All right. Let's keep going. You begin to hear them telepathically as your heart chakra expands, okay? As you start expanding your heart chakra, you don't even know what's happening. You just feel this overwhelming sense of love and affection for this person, and it becomes so incredibly warm when you're thinking about them. Every time you think about them, that you just can't help but smile. You can't help but feel just this sensation running through your body, and it becomes your heart chakra opening. And for the divine feminines, the heart chakra expands first. And then when you see your twin CTF, you actually trigger their heart chakra to open. But most of the CTFs are divine masculines, and they are in their headspace all the time. So they have more of a crown chakra activation, because they are very deep thinkers, okay? And so they don't always know exactly who they're feeling until they meet you and see your eye contact, okay? Then it becomes aware, oh, this person makes me feel this way. Excuse me. And they say, hey, every time I see this person, I'm starting to feel this way. Why is that? They got more inquiring, and they start wanting to find out more about you. And so they might look up your social media. They might start finding things about you. Or if you sent them things to their DMs, then they might start paying attention, more attention to it. Because every time they open your message, they feel beautiful. They feel a certain type of way, which causes them to feel more love in their hearts. Okay? That's not for every single person, but that's for several of us. If we do have a way to contact our CTFs through their social media, and you start sending them things that are specific to you guys, your connection, and they start reacting and they start posting things or putting things in their stories that kind of are mirroring what you've sent them, that's a very good sign that they are seeing those messages, okay? That's one thing that you can really rest assured, that they're going to start checking out your social media. And so make sure you got your social media right if you want your, profile to be looked at by them, because they will check it out, because that's how they do. They go and they spy on us because they are inquisitive about who we are and how is it that we're able to make them feel this way. Okay, so let's go into the next stage. Personal growth and ascension. Even though you may not have met your CTF yet, this is for those who haven't met them yet at this point, this fifth stage, or had a conversation with them yet, Spirit shows you things that cause you to get triggered into more self-healing, so you can prepare yourself to be with them and also to make you whole and complete. Okay, so basically what this is saying is that you start going through your kind of like your hermit phase, where you're going through your personal growth and ascension. There will be times when you have to be in solitude because you need to grow and to learn more about yourself. You need to work on healing those trauma wounds and those trauma bonds that you've had with people from your past. Okay, you're gonna have to eliminate all of that before you can even think about being in union with your CTF. Okay, for me, I had a lot of self-doubt and shame and things like that I had gone through from things from my past, as well as, feeling not worthy. And I had a lot of feelings of unworthiness and insecurities about my weight and all of that. I had to get rid of a lot of that because my CTF had been known to date a lot of very, very thin women. And, I wouldn't even come to find out till much later on that a lot of these people that CTFs are set up with are just that. They're set up with them to make them look good because of the fact that they are mostly dealing with celebrities, other celebrities as well. When they start dating or when they start putting their love life out there in public with these karmic partners, it's because usually these people have been picked out for them to meet and be with. Okay, this is how a lot of these labels work as well when it comes to trying to set up people with people that they feel will be a financial benefit to them by helping them to become more, get more popularity, or, whatever the case may be. A lot of times the celebrities are paired up with one another, and that's because they're trying to make more business moves in order to keep the money in the pockets of the elite. So what I said in the last video is coming through again, but I'm not going to let myself go down that rabbit hole again. So, but just know that, when you meet your CTF, and or if you haven't met them and you haven't had a conversation with them, Spirit is going to show you things that will help you to get triggered into more self-healing. And this is going to be their 5D self coming to you again and showing you, things about them. So say, for example, you get triggered by seeing them in a photo with someone that they post with, in their stories or in their page. And you're like, who is that? You start going to find out every little detail about that person, and then you start sending them negative vibes and negative energy. Is that going to help you? No. So Spirit's going to show you how to release that negative energy, because the more you start to gripe on this celebrity twin flames karmic partner and start wishing that, they didn't exist, and making, like spells and trying to do little things to make them get out of their life, then you start becoming more negative vibe, lower vibrational, and it starts to show in your life. You start losing your glow, you start losing your light, and you become more dark, and you start trying to figure out more ways that you can irk that person. Maybe you even send them a nasty message, So some of these things that you start to do as a result of seeing them and having been triggered by seeing them in a photo together, Spirit is going to teach you the hard way, if you don't learn first, on how to release that. Okay, so if you don't understand that they are in a karmic connection because they have lessons to learn as well, if you don't come across that information and start to realize this, you may have some tough lessons to learn, because if you start doing things that lower your vibration, it's only going to set you back more on your journey, and you're going to have to go through cycles. You're going to start getting karmic connections yourself that are going to be coming into your life and causing you, wreaking havoc on your life, because you are, sharing those lower vibrational thoughts with not only other people that your twin flame might be with. It's going to attract lower vibrational people to you as well. And that's what happens. Everything you do to try to throw shade on someone else will come back at you in the form of a karmic lesson. So just know that, okay? Don't do it. Don't fall into the trap, because that'll be the hard lesson that you'll have to learn, versus if you know right off the bat that, hey, they're in this connection because they have something to learn from this person. I should be thankful, because later down the line, when I do meet them and come into union with them, they'll be perfect for me, okay? Because they'll have learned that lesson, and they won't treat me bad, because they will have learned whatever it is that they're supposed to learn in order to be that divine masculine that they know they can be. Okay. So I said that okay, let me just go back and read it. Even though you may not have met them yet, your CTF yet, or had a conversation with them, Spirit shows you things that cause you to get triggered into more self-healing. Yeah, it leads you down more self-healing, doesn't it? So you can prepare yourself to be with them, and also to make you whole and complete. This is where you may end up having a false twin flame come into your life, because they will try to convince you that they are your true twin flame, but they will be there in the meantime to teach you the same karmic lessons that your CTF is being taught by their karmic partner, okay? So, you begin your ascension process, and that's going to mean that you're going to start realizing that you got to start raising your vibration, because the more you lower your vibration, the worse you feel. The more you start losing sleep, the more you start not being able to really see positive changes happening in your life. You might get stuck in a rut again. And so you start to realize you got to raise your vibration on this journey in order for you to attract your twin flame in. Okay? They do get drawn to you because of the magnetic attraction you have. But if you're in a low vibrational state, it's like having that negative polarity that repels them away from you. Okay? So you have to bring in a positive, higher consciousness, higher awareness, and higher vibration in order to draw them back in and attract them. I want you guys to look at the 5D consciousness videos. I will put them in the description box below. You begin to feel one with all things. You start having a more unified existence with nature, with the universe. You start feeling at one with everything. And you start realizing that even the smallest little creature that you hurt, it hurts you, okay? And you start wanting to do more things to help animals or to help nature, to the ecosystem. Everything starts to become important to you as to how well we keep this planet and keep it alive so that we can have a better future for our own children and that we can create a new earth together, okay? You start realizing this in your personal growth stage, in your ascension stage. You start realizing that if you hurt one thing in nature or in this world, you're hurting yourself because you're connected to it, okay? So you don't want to see animals hurt. You don't want to see anybody getting hurt. You don't want to see people losing things. You don't want to see them losing their homes or their jobs. It really hurts you. It pains you when you see these things happening, and you may be prompted to do something about it. You may see a beggar on the street and you may be prompted to give them money or help buy them a meal, okay? You start doing these things just naturally, automatically, because your heart chakra expands. It not only expands for your twin flame, your CTF, it expands for the people around you. And so you start learning how to love more through loving the people that are right there with you. Love the one you're with. Okay, there you go. Spirit's coming through with some more synchronicities and parallelisms here. Okay, so you eliminate... okay, wait. You begin to feel one with all things, and then you change and remove self-limiting beliefs. You change and you remove self-limiting beliefs to old beliefs. Oh, excuse me. Let me go back. You change and you remove self-limiting beliefs and old belief systems you were even raised with. Okay, a lot of those old-time religions and things that you were raised with, you start to learn that it no longer serves your highest good, and you can get way farther in your spiritual beliefs once you start learning how to take into your own hands the spiritual connection that you have with your creator, your source, or which I call Father Mama. Okay, so, and anything that stands in your way of that becomes a threat to you. And so you start not only eliminating those self-limiting beliefs, you begin with you, and you start clearing all those things out that you don't want anymore in your life. You peel back the layers, the onion layers, until you're to your true rawest form, okay? And some people are not going to like that. And so they're going to look at you differently. They're going to try to steer you off your path, and you're going to have to eliminate things and people that no longer serve your highest good. That's going to be where Spirit is prompting you to make changes in your life and start eliminating some of these toxic people. You release them with love. You learn how to do that. You learn how to do that, because if you don't, they just keep coming back, right? You release them with love, and it's like old friends that you might have stopped having the same. You might not have as much in common anymore now because you've changed, and so they start looking at you weird and thinking and start talking about you and saying, "Oh, you think you're better than us, or you think you're too good for us." Or you just, you've changed. What about you has changed? You're just weird, dude. Like they might start saying that to you, right? And you're like, well, hey, this is me now. I like me, and I'm starting to love the things that I've seen change in my life. So you have to let them go. You have to let old friends go that no longer serve your highest good. Karmic partners and situations that you're in with ex-boyfriends, ex-girlfriends that you feel like have come to an end, a complete halt on your journey. You just don't feel the same about being with them anymore. You're going to have to learn how to release them. Toxic family members, same thing. You're going to have to learn how to release them. Okay? You begin making healthier choices. You start getting your personal things together, such as your finances, your living conditions, your prayer, and you start you start physically improving your health, okay? And then you begin working on your mission. Woohoo! Your mission. The mission is so important, you guys, because once you've gone through this hermit mode and hermit phase, you are now ready, after you realized and you worked on yourself so much that you can bounce back from a lot of these tower moments and start learning how to not be triggered so much by people or things that you see that make you triggered, okay? When you start learning how to take these things with ease and grace and not be triggered by them as much anymore, you start learning how to balance out your energies, okay? You become more inner harmonious with yourself, okay? You begin working on your mission. You start learning what it is that you are here to do to help others, because now that you're in a Zen state, a state of balance and peace and love and harmony, and being at one with the universe and one with nature, you start realizing that you can help others become the same way. And so your mission is developed, okay? So that's all in stage 5, your personal growth stage. Okay, so let's recap these stages real quick, and then I'm going to go into stage 6, which is the last stage. Woo! Okay, so stage 1 was the dark night of the soul. Stage 2 was you become more spiritually aware and more inquisitive about healing and growth. Stage 3 is you start seeing signs and synchronicities, and you go through a period of ascension. No, excuse me, signs and synchronicities first. And learning who your CTF is. That's stage 3. Stage 4 is the love bubble phase, where you obsessively learning about more things about them. Stage 5 is your personal growth and ascension stage. Excuse me. And now, stage 6 is you're ready for communication. Woohoo! Okay, you are ready for communication from your CTF. It will happen. It will come in if you get through all these stages. And it comes in like a wrecking ball, let me tell you. So, it is not easy to go to this stage, because once you do have open dialogue with your CTF, and I'm not talking about you sent them a message and they posted something in your story or whatever, whatnot. No, I'm talking about either texting, communication that's texting directly to you, and it's them, or FaceTiming them directly, it's them, or talking to them in person directly. This is communication. But you're talking to them, but you're not staying or living with them. You're just talking to them, meeting up with them to talk, okay? So now you're ready for communication in the 6th stage. It comes in like a wrecking ball. It is far from perfect or ideal, or even like you may have fantasized about. It is not like what you might have fantasized about. But there will be some very obvious signs and clues that it's real, and it's what you have to do now is work on balancing out these energies together. Communication is all about helping you to balance out your energies, because you cannot hold these energies in union if you're constantly going back and forth fighting with each other. You cannot balance out your energies if you're fighting, or if you're complaining about how come they're not doing this and that for you. If you get to a state where you're in completely calm energy, and anything they do or say that they come at you and say or try to say and do to you will not trigger you, this is when you've reached your Zen moment, and you've been able to realize that you've worked on you so much that you can sit there, and even if they don't come up and show up for you, even if they don't call you back, if you ask them to call you, and even if they set up a time and a place to meet and they don't show up there, you don't get upset, because you start to value your own life and start to realize, hey, I'm worth more than this. I'm going to continue on my path until they get their act together, okay? Do not sacrifice your dignity for a CTF. Do not stoop lower and try to think that just because you're catering to them hand and foot, that they are going to respect you, because you have to learn how to respect yourself first and foremost, and learn that you are just as significant as the CTF. You are just as important, just as worthy of this love as your CTF. And they have to come to that conclusion on their own as well. If you're constantly fighting your CTF, it's because you have not learned your worth. That's all it means, is you have not learned that you are worthy of love and being treated with respect and dignity. You don't deserve to be abandoned or stood up after you've gone to a place to meet them. You don't deserve that. You deserve to be treated with respect and dignity, and to be loved just like you want to be loved. So if you're going back and forth, bouncing between communicating with them and them, promising to come and take you somewhere or do something with you, and they never do it, they're not ready. And so you're not ready too, because you haven't learned how to heal inside to the point where you value yourself more than that, okay? You have to value yourself before you can understand what this twin flame union is going to what this twin flame union is supposed to do for you. It's not supposed to make you stressed. Twin flame union is not supposed to stress you out more, or make you uneasy, or cause you to have grief. At this point, you guys should be healing to the point where you want to work together, okay? So communication is a very, it can be a very up and down phase, because of the fact that you have to balance these energies out, and it takes time. I cannot tell you how long it's going to take for you to balance these energies out. If you're going through communication also leaves the door open for you to become blocked, or for them to unfriend you, or whatever the case may be in your situation. Because if you say something that they don't like and they're not healed yet, they could block you. And same thing with you. If you are in communication and they say something that you don't like, and you end up blocking them, there's still healing work that needs to be done. That's the bottom line. And you cannot expect them to do the healing. You have to do it on your own. They do not heal you. You heal you, okay? You heal you, and they heal themselves on their end, all right? So, let me read this other part again. It is far from perfect or ideal, or like you may have fantasized about, but there will be some very obvious signs and clues that it is real, and what you have to do now is work on balancing out these energies together. Your CTF may not, more than likely is not, fully healed. They may not be at this stage in communication. They may not be fully healed, and more than likely they're not, because they may trigger you. They may still trigger you a bit until you learn to anchor the connection spiritually. Okay, that's what I was trying to read my own handwriting for a second there. So the CTF may not be, or more than likely is not, fully healed yet, and will still trigger you a bit until you learn to anchor the connection spiritually. Once the DM or CTF sees you are confident in yourself, in your complete self, your whole self, because you are a whole self in and of yourself, and your sense of self-worth has elevated and you believe that you are worthy of more, they will anchor the connection into the physical so both of you guys can continue to heal together. They will sense the need for this union in order for them to feel happy and whole and complete. Okay? Amazing. It really does work like that, you guys. They have to get to a point where they feel you're stable in your energies, that they can come through physically and make that commitment to you. Otherwise, it's going to keep bouncing back and forth. I'm really wanting to prepare you guys for this because some of the people who are in this connection and have been in this CTF connection for a long time may be going back and forth between being in communication and out of communication with their CTFs because of this, what I'm saying right now, okay? You have to heal and you have to balance these energies out. The divine feminine has to balance these energies out in the 5D so that the CTF, divine masculine, can balance and bring these energies into the physical world and allow physical union to take place. It cannot happen any other way, all right? You have to both get to a point where you're able to hold these energies because it is energetic, very much energetic connection. And the fighting and the bickering and the going back and forth with each other, it simply means that you haven't healed yet and there's things that you need to discuss with each other, okay? Or, I'm sorry, things that you need to still work on separately. So that's what separate, you could go in and out of separation at times during this phase, and it's up to you and how much you chose to do in before you came here as to how long those separations will take place in each, situation. Okay, we're almost done here. This connection. Here's a point that I really wanted to make because I really feel like if you are in a CTF connection and you're really new to this connection, I want you to really understand this part here. This connection is not for you to get rich and famous. You may have talents and gifts that are beautiful and that are ready for you to share with the world. You may start thinking that your CTF is here to help you get rich and famous off of your talent. But no, that's not what they're here to do. Your CTF is here to help you with whatever mission that you guys have here together, whatever that might be. If it is music, you will be working on this music together in some way, shape, or form. If it is art, you will be working on that art together. Or you will have a project that will require you to be together during a period of time, whereas you can make it happen. Same thing with a movie. You might be cast to be in a movie with your CTF. And then that way you'll be working together, okay? And this movie might be so powerful, it'll be helping, in some way to bring awareness to people about something, You never know what kind of movie it is that you're going to be involved with if your CTF is an actor. Or what kind of TV show, maybe you start a cooking channel or cooking show. Or your CTF wants to have that, and then they choose you because they like the way you do your cooking. Everything is possible, okay, on this journey. You guys have already discussed this before you came here, so there should be no surprises as to what it is you're meant to do with your CTF. You should start to learn that very, very soon after you start understanding who they are to you, okay? You have a mission together, and you will have to work hard to make this union possible and sustainable. As a divine feminine, you're really going to have to work on the spiritual connection part of it. If you go in and out of separation over and over again, it's because you still have healing work to do. I just said that on yourselves individually before you can come back together permanently. Okay, I have an important note here, and we're going to close this out. Some of you who believe you are in CTF connections, or some of you who may be questioning whether you're in a CTF connection, might be high-level soulmates and not twin flames, okay? There are different types of connections in this journey, in this life journey that we are in spiritually. there are twin flames, there are soulmates, and there are high-level soulmates. Okay? Some of you may have CTFs or twin flames that have crossed over. And so your CTF could be someone that has crossed over. In that case, you may have a mission here with a different CTF if you are getting the same signs and synchronicities as described above, and in the videos that I've already done about signs and synchronicities. Okay, so this is an important note that Spirit wanted me to give you, because some of you may still be a little confused as to what it is you are in terms of labeling yourself. Now, labels really are not important that much, only in terms of understanding the level of depth that your connection is at, spiritually speaking. Remember, I told you guys we have different levels of spirituality that we are going through in each lifetime. We are reincarnating here because there are lessons that we have to learn. We graduate into Twin Flame Academy, okay? My angels are like, yay! We graduate into Twin Flame Academy, and if you discover in this lifetime that you are a twin flame in this lifetime, that means that you probably don't have to go around and do the incarnation again, because you'll become a soul that can go into paradise and even help others on the other side, okay? You will be able to energetically help build the new earth from another higher dimension, okay? That is not here on earth. You won't have to reincarnate here again, okay? That's what twin flames, in my opinion, are going to graduate into on the next lifetime. They don't have to necessarily come back here. Now, if you decide with your twin flame you want to do that, then you guys will do that. But there are a lot of us that will graduate because we have learned the lessons that we came here to learn in Earth School, okay? So we will graduate into paradise, okay? And that will be our next level, and it'll be a higher dimension than what Earth is on. But we will also be helping those who are still on Earth in the higher dimensions to be able to help build the new Earth from the higher dimensions, okay? It's really beautiful. I've received a lot of these revelations through Spirit and through my angels, and it's really powerful what I've seen in my own visions and dreams, and they're just so excited to share these things with you guys, and I'm so happy that I get to be one that helps tell you that this information that not everybody is telling you. So, going back to what I just said, is nothing to trigger you. It is nothing to trigger you if you do find out, hey, you know what, I really haven't gone through a lot of these stages, and I'm not sure that I'm in a CTF connection. This person just might be somebody that I really like and like their music or their style. That's okay. You still have someone out there for you. Everybody on this earth will have someone to love them in this lifetime. It depends on what you chose before you came here. And it depends on, is your soul ready to be in a situation where you are a twin flame? Maybe you haven't graduated to that level yet. Perhaps you are one of the very, very fortunate souls to come here as a complete soul. The difference between a soulmate that is not a twin flame and a twin flame is that a soulmate functions as an individual soul. You're not connected with anybody else. They can have multiple soulmates too. You can have multiple soulmates and you will still feel like a part of, you will have multiple soulmates if you are a regular soulmate, okay? But you can only have one twin flame, because twin flames are one soul split into two different bodies, physically. A twin flame can have many soulmates who help them find their way on their journey. But even if they decide to settle down with a soulmate, they will still feel like a part of themselves is missing, okay? That's the main difference between a twin flame and a soulmate. If you decide that you want to settle down with a soulmate and you're a twin flame, you will always feel like a part of you is missing, because your soulmate cannot ever be at the same frequency as your twin flame, which is the exact blueprint for you and your DNA, your exact frequency blueprint match. They cannot be that. because they're a soulmate. So they function as a whole on themselves, in and of themselves. They don't have other half here. They are a functioning whole soul, okay? As a twin flame, you are a half of a soul in this physical body, and you're one soul split into two different bodies. So the one soul is comprised of you and your twin flame. So if you decide to settle for a soulmate and you start feeling, you know what, I still miss that other person, it's because you're missing your other half. And you will never feel really satisfied until you find your other half, okay? Until you know who they are, and you make that, you at least try to make that work, and try to come into a union with them. Now, if you guys decided this before this lifetime, that that's what you were going to do, that's what you're going to do. If you've been dreaming about it, that's what's going to happen for you. If you have signs and synchronicities about it, that's what's meant to happen for you. But if these things are not showing up in your life, these stages, then you may need to reconsider your position on this, okay? I really wanted to make this video for you guys because I wanted you to know that there are different stages in a CTF connection that you need to be going through in order to call yourself a true CTF, on a CTF journey. So that is all I have for you today. I hope this helped you guys a lot. I hope this really kind of brought clarity to some of you who might be questioning whether or not you're in one. But it doesn't mean that you don't have love out there to find. There is still love for you to find. There are so many different types of connections out there that are meant for us to find. We just have to be patient with ourselves and learn what lessons we need to learn so that we can grow into that, okay? That connection that we're meant to have. Twin flames are a specific type of connection. We are one soul split into two different human bodies. But a soulmate is there to help teach us lessons. Now, can a soulmate be someone else's twin flame? Yes. Sometimes they might be. So you may have to go your own separate ways, because everybody, karmic partners and false twin flames alike are going to have to eventually be released so they can find their other, whatever part that they need to find in their connection on love. Okay, whether they want to end up with another soulmate, and if they're a complete soul in of themselves, or if they have a twin flame out there, how will they know if they don't get released? By you, because you're here holding them in this situation, and there may be an opportunity for them to meet the true love of their life. If for any reason, you're just not able to make a connection work, you should not continue to suffer in this connection, being unhappy because of the fact that it'll cost you a lot. It'll cost you a lot of change. Maybe, you'll have to move or, separate your finances. I did it all, you guys, and I actually did it, and it was what I was meant to do. Otherwise, I would have never even had an opportunity to try to be with my twin flame and come into union with my twin flame, because they would have never really been able to feel my energetic connection, because I would have been wrapped up so much with my karmic partner that they would think that, oh, if she's with someone, she's not really looking for me. So therefore, I just need to move on and continue to look for someone else myself. That's how it works. You guys are mirroring one another. So, like I said, in the Love the One You're With series, you don't need to rush things. If you've decided that you're not going to continue on in your connection with your karmic partner, things should be able to smoothly separate, okay? Not in a rough way. You need to get to that point where you smoothly separate from your karmic partner in such a way whereas they are not left high and dry, okay? You don't want to leave them in that state. That is not a higher vibrational state to leave them in, and that is not what you are meant to do as a light worker. You're never supposed to leave someone in more distress than you found them in, okay? That's not good for you. That's not a good look for us, okay? So we need to make sure that as we are coming to a close on these karmic cycles, that we are doing it in a loving way. We are releasing them in a loving way. If it is time for them to be released, if there are still lessons for you to learn, Spirit will not allow that separation to take place just yet, because there will be more lessons for you to learn. Or maybe there's something you need to do with them. Like I said, starting something project-wise Maybe you have a project to complete with this karmic partner that is going to aid in your union with your mission with your twin flame, your CTF. So there still may be reasons why you're with this person. You know, I've heard stories about people meeting their CTF, and then their karmic partner ended up working with them or having some kind of business offer with them. That's really, really wild, you know, because that was introduced because of the fact that the person and the connection had been with a karmic partner prior to their CTF connection coming into play. So, you know, these things are meant to happen in a certain way. You've already chosen it to be this way before you came here. So why not just allow it to play itself out the way it's supposed to, and don't rush the process. Trust the process, okay? I love you guys so much. Please comment on this video, like and subscribe to this channel, and let me know if this video helped you by leaving a nice comment, just saying something, or doing emojis even. But I need to know from you guys, is this content helping you? That's all I really want to know. Is this content helping you? And if so, has anyone received much more clarity about what their connection is based on these videos? Please, I just want to know for my own self, yeah, for my own feedback, from a personal standpoint, and you know, where I can improve. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here on the channel. Thank you for watching my videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.